Sure. Well, to switch gears just a moment, how are EMS services in Texas doing from an employment standpoint?
Well, that was when you asked what the issues were in EMS earlier, and we all said reimbursement. I believe also that recruitment and retention of staff is probably a major issue.
It is.
Unfortunately, the process to become a paramedic is not a simple one. It's an expensive one, and for a similar effort, a person can become a nurse or a radiation therapist or a radiology technician is what I was trying to say. And so, and comparatively, the salaries and the hours that are worked are very disparate. So there is a large indication out there that there's not enough paramedics already. There's staffing shortages, and that is not being addressed, and it's not getting better. It's in fact getting worse. So we believe, or at least I believe, and I know that in shared discussions we've all discussed this, something has to be done to remediate the situation, or we will face a crisis similar to what we faced in the late 80s with nurses and the shortages that were existed there.
Now, what sort of involvement does TAA have in promoting EMS as an employment opportunity through the various professional associations, the licensure, and as a career path to administrative levels versus something like nursing or other different technical fields in the medical industry?
Well, that's one area where the Texas Ambulance Association does try and take a leadership role. We, in the past, emergency medical service has been looked on as a trade and as a stepping stone. What we as a Texas Ambulance Association are trying to do is to show that this is a career. There is a career ladder, that if you do get into it, you don't have to spend your whole life, your whole professional life riding in the back of an ambulance, no matter how comfortable those Frazer trucks are. It's very demanding work. It's very hard work. And while it's very rewarding, it also does take a toll. You can't do it forever. So there has to be a well-defined career path, and that's one of the things that I think our board of directors agrees on, is that we need to get the word out that you're not just you're not going to spend your whole career in the back of an ambulance. There is a defined career path. I know that we've all started in the ambulance working on patients, but there are steps that you can take. And EMS is a valid career, and we are trying very hard to get that message out that it's not just a trade or it's not just a stepping stone, but it is a valid career.
Now, does TAA do any continuing education for the EMTs?
Not for necessarily the EMTs. What we try and do is work with the managers, the owners, the executive staff to let them know what education opportunities are out there and for their people, because again, as I said in my opening statements, we are so diverse in, whether we have privates, not-for-profits, fire-based, third city service. So the continuing education requirements are going to be a little bit different based on local protocols, medical direction, and things like that. So what we try and do is get the word out to the managers and owners that there are these opportunities out there.
Sure.
And there's an organization that actually addresses that, which is the National EMT organization that does the continuing education portion.
Right.
Okay, fantastic. Now, if you could look into the future and give us an idea of what trends we can expect to influence EMS over the next 3 to 5 years, what's out there on the horizon?
Boy, I think that, as John touched on, the shortage of personnel, that is something that is immediate. It is on the horizon, and we are, trying to be proactive and bring more people in. Reimbursement, that is something that 3 to 5 years, 10 to 15 years, all the way down the line is something that I'm afraid that we're going to be battling the whole time.
And this is publics, privates, Medicare and Medicaid,
Everybody.
and there's specific
Everybody.
rules for reimbursement
You
are
bet.
affecting this industry at large.
Absolutely, yeah. The regulations and the trend doesn't seem to be that reimbursements are going up. They are always looking to go down. So we're having to learn how to do more and more with less and less, and that becomes very challenging sometimes. Other things, again, here on beautiful South Padre, they were impacted by by the storms. While I believe that we did as an association and as EMS do a good job, we learned where our holes are. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we have got to come up with a comprehensive disaster management plan to address these issues.
Which agencies do you think are leading the way on the disaster preparedness and the next inevitable natural disaster?
Right. I think right now we've got good cooperation between us and the Department of State Health Services, FEMA, Homeland Security. We're trying to get all of those organizations to sit down at the same table and let's start the dialogue on how we can do that. And from what I understand, that there is a meeting coming up.
Yes,
and Rachel, maybe you have more information on that?
Well, it was just put out in the board meeting yesterday that actually received a letter in reference to they want a team to actually work with them in reference to disaster management.